Hi, it's Scott, ROCKFILE, back with another podcast review, a completely non-spoiler and arguably short review of Deadpool and Wolverine. I'll cut right to the chase with no spoilers. I haven't laughed, clapped, or cheered as much in a movie, probably since the last Deadpool movie, or ever. I had a blast from beginning to end, and it literally begins at the Marvel, right in front of the Marvel logo at the beginning of the movie, all the way to the end. I literally just got home. I would go see it again right now. I would go see it again this weekend. I would buy the 4K Steelbook and watch it and freeze frame it for all of the Easter eggs and spoiler surprises that I'm not going to spoil here. I thought the movie was fantastic. I think the chemistry that Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds have is out on the screen. I think it's the best Hugh has ever played Wolverine, probably. It's up there with Logan as my favorite Wolverine performance. And as far as Ryan Reynolds goes, he gives it 125%, as much as he did in the first Deadpool. Because let's say, it took him 10 years to get that movie made, and he put everything into it. I thought the second one was great. But this is everything I wanted out of this team up. It may not be everything you wanted. It may not be everything. I did listen to a few reviews from people I trust, from non-spoiler reviews. They didn't spoil anything, and they found things to pick apart. I got to be honest, I didn't. Sure, like a lot of Marvel movies, the bad guy is not such a bad guy. I mean, not fully fleshed out, not in the entire movie, but I didn't care. Like, you see her from the trailer. I'm not going to tell you who she is or anything or what, it all means, but she was great in the role and I didn't care. This is Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman's movie from beginning to end. The two of them are in almost every scene. There is very little, let's go over here and talk about these other side characters, which happens in a lot of the prequels, sequels, and all that other stuff. Sure, we are introduced to many cameos and characters you've seen in the movies. But they're all used as an integral part of the script. They're not just thrown up on the screen. I was about to say something and I promised no spoilers, so no spoilers. Let's just say one of the things that Marvel movies are known for continues, and that's a wonderful thing as well. I think Ryan Reynolds knocked it out of the park. I think Hugh Jackman returning to the role is incredible. I think Sean Levy did a great job. He was probably up to his eyeballs. I mean, this is more than he did on his last few movies. He did Free Guy. This is why they decided to do Deadpool together. Not bringing back the original director didn't really hurt the movie. They were aiming for a new kind of thing, and it is. It is... They take shots at the MCU, they take shots at Fox, they take shots at comic books in general. And it's wonderful. It's over the top in all the wonderful ways. It is everything I wanted to see. And they will look at the camera and say, this is about to get good, so pay attention. I mean, what more could you ask for? I think the opening scene is as creative as any of the other Deadpools or John Wicks or whatever. I think the opening scene is great where they put the credits and everything. It literally does start from the Marvel opening. So don't, if you can avoid going to the bathroom for 2 hours, and I think it was 2 hours and 4 minutes. Of course, there's 20 minutes of trailers too, but the movie is just a hair over 2 hours. And they even talk about that in the movie and how long movies should be. It really is a love letter to fans of Deadpool, fans of comic books, fans of movies. I had a blast in the theater, and I'm not the only one. The theater was pretty packed for an afternoon showing here in Kenai, Alaska. The crowd laughed as much as I did, cheered, raised their hands in the air, and clapped. There were things in this movie I didn't think they could do, that they would ever do. People that wouldn't ever appear, that kind of thing. They tease you with it. Then they throw it in your face. The surprises. Stay away from other reviews. I'm not going to post any spoiler reviews until later. Stay away from the trailers even. Just go see the movie. I walked out of the movie theater thinking, this isn't going to be a $1 billion movie. This is going to be a $2 billion movie, to quote my buddy Chris. I think he's absolutely right. This movie has had such a buildup. In watching the Hot Ones episode and some of the other interviews that Hugh and Ryan have done, there are all these comments from people that are like, I really should hate all this promotion, the fact that these guys are everywhere, but I don't. I actually like it. Their Hot Ones episode was one of the best. Their interviews have been some of the best. Their Gordon Ramsay episode was wonderful. It all came together, and using the relationship that these two guys have, but then them giving it all in the movie. They could have just walked through this movie and made it an action movie and some comedy, and it would have been fine. But they really cared about what they were doing. I can tell that everybody involved loved what they were doing. Everybody, from the small roles to the big roles to the people behind the cameras. This is a movie made of pure love. And that they've worked Deadpool into the Marvel credit at the beginning, that's just wonderful. I mean, it's nice to see him there. There is an after credit scene that you need to see. It, no spoilers, it is something that relates to in the movie and not so much what goes on after. It's very funny. It is really worth staying around, and it's at the very end. That is the only end credit scene. I thought the movie was great. I literally haven't had that much fun in a movie theater in years, if ever. I don't know that I've ever laughed or clapped as much at a theater, because I'm usually one of those guys that tries to be quiet. There's a lot of people who make noise in movie theaters these days. Here's an indication of how good the movie was. Nobody was taking their phones out. I don't think I saw any. It was amazing. They pulled it off. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. I mean, if I wanted to review it as the average movie, I would say it's a little scattershot, and it jumps around a bit. And if you're not familiar with some of the background, you're going to be lost. But does that matter? You've seen the two Deadpool movies. You've probably seen a lot of the Marvel and Fox stuff. Go see this movie. It's exactly what you want it to be. They made what they think the fans want. Every single person that walked out of this theater, and it was pretty full. We don't sell out theaters here very much. And it was pretty full for an afternoon showing. Everyone walking out was talking about, that was great. I love that. That was great. That was funny. That was really good. All those comments. I don't usually pay attention to that stuff, but I knew I was going to have to come do a spoiler-free review, and you really can't talk about the movie. It all makes sense. There's an opening monologue that basically catches you up kind of thing and talks right to you more honestly than you could possibly imagine. Again, this is a love letter to the fans. Kudos to Ryan Reynolds, kudos to Hugh Jackman and Sean Levy. They really did a great job. 5 writers on the movie is a bit much, but it's the same original 2 writers, plus Ryan Reynolds, plus the director and another guy who's worked on some other stuff. So it's nonstop. The laughs just keep coming. I would say 90 to 95% of the jokes hit. And the ones that don't, they probably hit for other people. But with that kind of ratio, it just felt like I was laughing the whole movie. And there's some serious scenes in it, so I obviously wasn't laughing. But that's what it feels like. It feels like my ribs are sore. I laughed. It's more of a comedy than anything. But again, it's making fun of comic book movies. It's making fun of the MCU. It's making fun of Fox. It's making fun of Deadpool. It's making fun of you. They pull no punches. They gave us exactly what they think we wanted. And I think they nailed it. I literally have no complaints. Literally. The special effects were good. The fight scenes are great. There's one chaotic scene that's a lot of shaky cam. That's not my favorite way to film a scene, but it fit that scene. It was a chaotic scene, and that helped. If it had been slowed down like the other, I mentioned this because one of the reviewers I watched commented on this. I figured out what scene he was talking about. In the Deadpool movies, they do a lot of slow-mo, so you can really take in the fight choreography and the weird things that are going on, the lighter going in somebody's mouth, the seatbelt getting cut by claws, that kind of thing. I mean, they do the slow motion so you can see how much time and effort is put into these fight scenes, and to make them more than just fight scenes. They tell stories, they're funny, all that stuff. In this movie, there is one scene that's not done like that, but it is an over-the-top, you can't believe what's going on kind of scene. And I think that kind of shaky cam footage, and it still is pretty clear. The camera's going around all the action. It's a pretty spectacular scene, as it should be, considering what's going on. And you'll know what I'm talking about when you get to that movie, or that scene in the movie. You'll know. I don't want to talk any more about it because I can't talk about spoilers. I will post a spoiler podcast sometime later in the weekend. I want to give everybody at least a couple days to have a chance to go out and see it. Most of my friends are going to see it today or tomorrow. This is posting on Thursday night, Friday morning for Eastern time. So go see it as quick as you can. Stay away from the spoilers and the interviews. Go watch all that stuff after you go see the movie. Of all the movies that I've waited to don't spoil it for me kind of things, including Endgame, this is the one where you really need to stay away from spoilers. You don't see these surprises coming. You really couldn't see these surprises coming, and I was blown away by most of them. I got everything out of a Deadpool and Wolverine movie that I could possibly ask for, and I will buy the 4K Steelbook as soon as they put it up for pre-order. I highly recommend the movie. If you're a Marvel fan, if you're a Deadpool fan, you have to see this movie. Or you're a Wolverine fan. It's one of his best performances, Wolverine, hands down. It's a great movie. It's going to make a lot of money. I hope you go see it quickly and let me know what you think of it. Like I said, spoiler review coming probably this weekend, maybe by Sunday, if not before. But in the meantime, go see the movie and you'll probably see it again before we hear from each other again. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. So check it out. Deadpool and Wolverine is now playing. We've waited so long for this and it was worth the wait. Not the perfect movie and still not the best movie I've seen this year, but definitely the most fun I've had with a movie this year and the most fun I've had with a movie in a very, very long time. It was fantastic. Deadpool and Wolverine playing now. I'm Scott, I'm ROCKFILE. Thanks for listening. Links are below if you want to support. Have a spectacular day.